It's Halloween time. I'm Cowboy Curtis.
And I'm the pirate that has been.
And this is player 1 versus player 2. Welcome to player 1 versus player 2 pumpkin carving.
I am a pirate. I am player 2. Now I'll carve a pumpkin, and you're gonna good for you.
Woohoo!
Over the years, there's been many good games that are Halloween based. I mean, they weren't really made for Halloween, but they have ghosts and witches or vampires or
Dracula.
yeah, or evil mad scientists. I mean, there's been many good games that have come out, and or even really, really bad games that have come out that have had to do with Halloween.
Games, yes. So I think like what we're wanting to do this episode, instead of giving you the traditional, ooh, spooky games, ooh, shit your pants games, like, you know, Clock Tower, Silent Hill, Resident Evil, we're going to take a more thorough, comprehensive look.
Comprehensive.
Comprehensive, guy. Big words. Big words.
Big words.
Big words. A look at, you know, at the Halloween season and games that we feel fit the motif.
Motif.
God, yeah, I'm breaking off some knowledge on your ass. College education.
All right, so what have been some good games that people might overlook?
You know,
as maybe a game you could play with your kids at Halloween time.
You know, the first game that comes to my mind when you say monsters, Halloween, games you can play with the kids, Castlevania. That game's got Dracula, Grim Reaper.
It has every
single one of those motherfuckers.
It has skeletons, and sometimes they do
motorcycle skeletons.
No, that doesn't count.
Laser beam skeletons.
N64's Castlevania was not a Castlevania.
It's so bad it's now out of continuity.
It's horrible.
Yes.
But Castlevania is a great game for many reasons.
Very many reasons. Good soundtrack, great gameplay, harder than shit, especially older ones.
Good story.
Good story.
Continued of story throughout the series.
Yes, Konami's done a very good job of, you know, trying to make that story fit into one another. I mean, all these various games made by various different producers and teams all work into one atmosphere.
And I mean, it's really very simple. I mean, you kind of fight the same monsters. You're going to fight a skeleton over and over, but he's going to be a red skeleton will do something different, a blue skeleton will do something different.
The curry skeleton.
Yes.
You know, skeleton knights. I mean, there's just so many monsters here. But what gets me about Castlevania, this is the thing that, as even when I played Castlevania 1 as a child, there's nothing scary about it. I mean, you would think the Grim Reaper with an 8-foot-long scythe would be fucking terrifying.
Yes.
It's
but
not.
It's not at all. It's silly.
It's irritating and aggravating. I mean, I think I can't even imagine the number of controllers broken over, you know, the Grim Reaper and Dracula in the original Castlevania.
Well, the original one was a very hard game, and I think you are the only person I know who can actually say they beat it, in one life?
Yes.
Wow.
I don't think I could ever do that again.
I applaud you, gentlemen.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Arr.
Arr. But what's another game that we can say, all right, you wouldn't think off the top of your head, a quasi-family-based game that's just, you know, it's Halloween-ish.
I'd say they overlook Maniac Mansion sometimes.
This
was a great game. It was made by Lucasfilms, and then later recreated by Lucas fans.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Let's say make it, yeah.
But it was a game where you were this one guy, and you were going into a mansion where your girlfriend was being held captive, and he had to take along a couple of his friends. So you get to choose 2 other friends, and you had to choose from 6 people they all had different attributes which would help you through the maze of puzzles, pretty much is what it is. It was an addictive game for me, and it was it was very hard.
Yeah, I mean, it was very interactive. That game, I do remember it being very interactive. A lot of items, a lot of different opportunities. Like, you know, a couple episodes back, we talked about Indigo Prophecy, and a lot of that stuff that's in there got its start here. A lot of that same, like, you know, like you said, you had guys that could work on a typewriter, ones that could do different abilities, and how you interacted with the environment could completely change your game.
It also had a lot of, I mean, you can take this into Shadowgate.
Oh,
it was
yes.
It was pretty much the same system, except Shadowgate was more simple. But you used the actual cursor. I mean, really, these games are best played on a PC with a mouse. you get look, or you get search and get and open or close, and you can use that on the different. You interact with your environment in that way.
Yeah, Shadowgate, like I said, had the 3D perspective. It had the first person. It really had an FPS perspective.
Yeah.
Going through the game, and like I said, you had multiple items that did virtually different things. It was a very interesting game for its time.
It was a very hard, difficult
Very-
game.
very
Until you
difficult.
figure out the puzzles. I mean, once you figure out the puzzles on these games, of course you're going to be able to do it
Well,
easily.
yeah.
But if you just go and play it and you don't know anything, like haven't played it before, I mean, it's a difficult game to get through. It takes a good while to play these older
Yeah,
search and find type games.
well, yeah, most 8-bit games in general are harder. But like, another older game that I think has been swept under the rug, and this is just purely gore factor here. Splatterhouse. On the TurboGrafx 16. The main guy was a Jason Voorhees ripoff.
Yes.
And you went around fighting things that came out of wombs and just some really fucked up
It was a
shit.
really fun, bloody game, though.
Yes, it's a really good, interesting game. I wouldn't mind seeing back on a new system. I don't know if they could get away with the big talking Jason mask or not that they had in the later games, but it was very, very
But I mean,
gory,
it was a
weird.
very simple game. This game was just, it was very hack and slash. You just run through button smashing. I mean, pretty much. It was just an action game.
Yeah, it just had
Very
some fucked
simple,
up
but
gore.
it was very fun, and it's a great game for Halloween time with the
Yes.
blood.
Yeah, and another game that strikes me with Halloween is just Mortal Kombat. Now, okay, I know the audience thinking, okay, Mortal Kombat, what the fuck's that got to do with Halloween? But think about it. Every kid in America dressed up as a ninja at one point in their life. Every single one. And Mortal Kombat is the most ninja-rific game that has ever been made. You could teach your kids the colors of the rainbow by having them name the different Mortal
But
Kombat
why is it a
ninjas.
Halloween episode?
Because A, it's got shitty costumes. B, it's got splattery gore. C, you've got hell involved. D, it's ridiculous. And I think, look at me for Christ's sake. I'm ridiculous. This is Halloween.
You
And
get to pull out spines, and you get to grab people's hearts out of their chest while it's still beating. I mean, that is.
the sort of schlock and crap that you see in Mortal Kombat, you would see on like USA Up All Night Halloween-a-thon. And none of those movies are good. And a lot of Mortal Kombat stuff is taken with a grain of salt. We'll take it like that.
I mean, it's fun and gory.
Yes, fun and gory. Just a whole different thing. You go from Mortal Kombat, talking about hell and splattering and all that, and you go to like Doom.
Doom, yes.
Doom
was a very. I mean, you're trying to save
yourself.
the universe
Yeah.
and yourself and the universe in the process
Yes.
by closing the portal to hell.
Yeah, that's pretty goddamn Halloweenish.
What's more Halloween than hell?
I don't know.
So now let's talk about some spooky games. What are some spooky games that are Halloween related?
Silent Hill. That's goddamn spooky, weird, fucked up, Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
It's Ringu.
I mean, it had great environments.
Mm-hmm. Interesting gameplay. There definitely some deviant storylines, and then it fits the mood. And I think if we're looking for it, okay, we went over the top, and this is more subtle.
And if you're looking for the spooky game that might kind of scare you, Silent Hill would probably be what you want to play.
Mm-hmm.
But-
And then you got the world beater Resident Evil franchise, which the first one was pretty scary.
Yeah, I mean the
and
first time I
the remake
played
of it on the
Resident Evil,
GameCube is amazing.
the first time I played Resident Evil and those dogs came out,
Yes.
I'll admit that I jumped. I mean, I was playing it in the middle of the night. Those are the kind of games you want to play in the middle of the night, and
yes.
you're sitting all alone
With a
and
blanket around you.
You're kind of
Almost kind of like when you're watching porn. But, that scare factor is there. I think the series lost a lot of that scare factor as it's moved on and turned to more adventure up until 4.
Yeah.
Now, even early on at 4, it lets you know this is going to be a little different.
Mhm.
You got the cheetah zombies running after you with the chainsaw guy. And for those of you guys that haven't played Resident Evil 4, the chainsaw guy himself is fucking... it's freaky because it takes one bad move and you're like, oh, there's my head. Game on. Damn.
And then there's Resident Evil Survivor.
Yes.
And this game was just shit.
Arr!
Arr! I give it 2 hooks down.
Yes.
But seriously, this game, it was pretty much a first-person shooter Resident Evil style game.
Yeah, and it wasn't very
It
good.
was not good. I mean, I beat it in like 3
But
hours.
speaking of light gun horror games, then that brings us to House of the Dead.
Oh, House of the Dead.
The
one,
game, not the movie.
Yeah, but the game that spawned this horrible movie, which really blemishes the game.
Well,
to
you
me.
can like a person even though they aborted their baby. That's just... the game itself wasn't that bad. You went in different avenues.
Yeah, I mean, the game itself, when you first play House of the Dead, it was a fun game.
It's a fun game.
I mean, I enjoyed, shooting some evil zombie things that come at me.
Yeah.
I can just never look at it in the same light again since Yui Bowl fucked it. Is he going to do
interesting
that
visual.
to many other games?
Well, yeah, but that's Yui Bowl.
And
That's
that
horror
brings-
in and of itself.
That game spawned Typing the Dead, though.
Yes, now that was a very
That's a fun,
very
interactive
quirky little
learning game.
Yes, you put education and horror in the comfort of your own PC.
Not only can you learn typing, kids, but you can kill dead things, too.
Yes,
Kill dead things, too.
yes.
Fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean you got that. Let's see what else that brings out the old spookiness or horror or mortal.
Well, of course, I mean, you have the games that are franchise games. That's, you
like
have
the movie tie-ins.
Yeah, I mean, you have your Friday the 13th.
Yes.
And as Fuck You Player 2 or Fuck Player 2 said.
Oh, the Texas Chain. Yes, he sent
Texas
that in a couple weeks
Chainsaw
ago. Yes, the
Massacre.
Texas I
Massacre.
did not know about that game. I did not know it existed.
On Atari
I
2600.
looked it up, played it. Interesting.
Was it?
Very interesting. It's all you are Leatherface.
Mm-hmm.
It's late 70s. You're chopping folks around. For that time period, very offensive stuff. I have to give it that. A very simple premise, and
Was it fun? I mean, did you enjoy the game?
it's about as fun as an Atari game can be at its average. I mean,
So it wasn't as bad as E.T. or any
No.
of these other Atari games?
No,
Okay.
no.
So,
But they also had Nightmare on Elm Street, and that was a very interesting game because that was one of the few NES 4-player games that they had with their add-on, and 4 people could go around, look for the pieces of Freddy, throw them in the furnace, and it really wasn't that bad. It's an inventive little game that I'm not saying it's great, but it wasn't bad. It was not bad at all.
I mean, on NES, let's just stick to NES for a second and talk about Boy and His Blob.
And going back to the ridiculous side of Halloween,
I mean, that was a fun little adventure game with your little boy and
Yeah,
his
little blob.
pet blob who could
and you
eat
fed them
different,
jelly beans.
different jelly beans and become different things, such as ladders and...
Yes, I mean little ladders and steps and all sorts of weird shit.
A really fun game
Yes.
on Genesis was Zombies Ate Your Neighbors.
That was a very
This
silly
game
game.
kind of went away. I mean, they made a couple of
There was one sequel to it.
There was a sequel.
There was a sequel.
But from that, I mean, the game didn't go anywhere else after that. But that was a real
No.
fun.
That was a fun little game where
hack and
you could
slash
hit
zombie game.
a Chucky doll with a popsicle. I mean, you gotta love the aspect of that. I mean, that's some silly shit that you need to bring back. And I think maybe,
that's really what Halloween's fun, and I mean, you have your scary stuff, but then you also have your silly stuff. And I mean, that's what really makes Halloween fun,
you got
especially for
slasher.
kids and things. Is,
Well, the great thing about Halloween is that there's something for everyone. I mean, there's the folks that like to dress up as the Easter Bunny or the fucking cow thing, and they're just like, ooh. Well, then you've got your silly ass games, like Boy and His Blob, Zombies Ate My Neighbors, its sequel, Ghoul Patrol, and the other one like that. Then you got your Halloween fans who's like, ooh, blood and guts, blood and guts, blood and guts.
and they like to get the shit scared out of them and
Yeah.
play these spookier games that are such as your Silent Hill and Resident Evil.
Yeah. Well, and then the blood and guts with the Mortal Kombats or the Splatterhouses and games like this that just will go Carnival. Another one that goes to that. Where
That's a very
taking
fun
shotguns and blowing the fuck out of
arcade
folks.
game.
Yes, I mean you gotta love that.
I mean, is there any newer games that have come out that have really been scary? I mean, other than the Resident Evils and Silent Hills.
Well, I'll tell you a game that I'm looking forward to is Infected for the PSP. It's a first-person shooter that's got Santa Claus as a zombie. Okay, he's just a background character, but still, it's good beginning. What I like about this is that in the game, supposedly, you're going to be able to play, Wi-Fi and all that with other folks, and you're going to be able to infect them with your special brand of sickness. And you'll be able to go over globally, and you'll be able to chart who all you've infected and where you've infected. I think that's a very interesting concept that I think utilizes the potential of the PSP.
Which will be great if especially in big cities. I mean, PSP in a smaller city, it's really hard to use, especially if it's so spread out where the Wi-Fi doesn't.
Well, yeah, I mean, people in Wyoming are fucked.
But if you live in New York
it's a
City,
great,
you can infect like everybody around you.
I think that gives it a great flavor. See another one game that's coming out.
I mean, it's Stubbs the Zombies coming out.
Yeah.
And that game looks really cool.
Yes, and we're both big fans of zombies, and I think that's going to be
in
a
this
good
game, you'll be able to play as the zombie. You'll be able to like kill cops and eat the cops. And
Yeah, but I don't think they're taking it in a completely horror atmosphere with that. I think they're
I
going
mean, I
with
think
a
it's
little
gonna
bit
be
of
kinda
silliness. With a little,
cheesiness,
yeah.
but it's gonna be fun, I think.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you have Land of the Dead that's coming out, and that's going to be based on the movie, and I don't think that's going to be quite as silly. I think if it's anything like the movie, anything like what Romero does, I think we can look forward to some inventive kills, hopefully some environments that allow for this sort of thing, and maybe a decent game on top of it. Maybe this will be Romero's
I'd like
chance
to have
atone.
them, make that to where it's kind of from the zombies' perspective. I mean, I know zombies, they don't think much. I mean, zombies should just kind of walk around brainless dead.
Yeah.
Zombies.
Or like your kids at Hot Topic. I'd like to see a Friday 13th remake. And I'd like to see, I really like aspects of the old 8-bit game. It's shit, but I'm crazy, yes. I mean, hat. But what I would like to see is I would like to see 2 versions of this game. And I think any of the next-gen systems could easily pull this off. One that's kind of like close to what the 8-bit one was, where you have 6 or 7, 8, different counselors. But instead of, fighting the dogs and the ridiculousness, have it more horror-based. Have it more like a Silent Hill, more like you're just walking around and creepiness happens. Even like Clock Tower, where the main villain in that was just a guy that chased you around. Have that theme with the counselor side of it. Each of them having their own abilities, and also keep them in to
really,
save the
even they
children.
could make a Friday the 13th game where it's kind of like Metal Gear, but you're Jason, and you just kind of have to sneak in. And
I don't know how much sneaking Jason has to do, though.
Jason is always behind you, though.
Dude, he's got,
But
he
then
can
he runs,
teleport.
and then he slashes and hacks.
That's why Jason is the shit. I think that would be fun. That's what I'm saying. The other half should have Jason coming in with his machete and coming out with like manhunt,
Or even like
kills.
a multiplayer game where like one person's Jason and the
Everyone
rest
else
of
are
the
counselors. That would be cool.
That would be really fun.
That would be very cool. And I think we should. That's something we could look forward to. I think that's something people could really get their teeth into as a game.
There's so many franchises that could actually be made into games that would be good. Hellraiser would be a great franchise to be made into
A torture meter.
Yes, that would be fun.
That would be awesome. Have a tap or something like that, or just some combinations
How
of
much can
very
you
grisly
withstand?
kills. Yeah,
Pinhead's
manipulation with your body.
and anger.
Yes, and that's. I think that would be a good series. That should come out. Was scheduled to come out on the 8-bit NES, but let's be thankful that it did.
Yeah.
So I think those are a couple things we could look forward to. You ready to do your PBS thing? Come on.
Thanks for watching the show. Shirts and
donations. Woo!
go to the
Money.
Go into the site and check out the store. Buy some shirts. Donate, please.
Also, if you have anything to say about our goofiness, make sure to put it on our forums, ransomtv.com/forums. Also, if you like the show, give it to friends. Show it to friends, and let they show it to friends. Let this be a sickness. Get down with it. Show it to your friends. Yes.
Yeah, well, show your friends, but don't listen to him.
No.
Listen to me and show your friends, show your family.
On the show.
Now for some pumpkin smashing.
Arr.